G. Come on, Neil. No one, thank you. Yo. I'm just gonna smash this out really quick for the stream. So start with the DXY. Okay, so with the DXY, yo, assalamu alaikum, habibi. I'm gonna do this really quickly because I've got food, so I just want to get this out of the way so I can get back to my food because it just turned up as I started the stream. So going on to the DXY, we're making lower highs and lower lows, as you could clearly see here. On the Wednesday where we had the FOMC speech, obviously that was a big day, a big candle coming from there. We can see we're oversold as well on the RSI. You're probably wondering why have I put that in. It's something new I've added in just for the DXY, just to find, you know, highs and lows within the market using the DXY on the daily time frame only. I don't really use RSIs and these types of indicators, but I know they are really good on higher time frames, so it's just going to be for the DXY on the daily chart, probably EUG on the daily. As you guys know, a lot of the time I don't really trade the daily time frame, but I've added it on there. I think it's valid. I think it works and stuff like that. It's a very similar setup to Nick's at Trader Nick, if you follow him. Pretty much the same setup there. So it's just put on there for the sake of 1 second. Has this posted? Has it posted on X or not? Yeah, perfect is posted on X, so that's okay. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm using there. Ali Habibi, kif halak? So yeah, I mean, coming back down to this, if you go on the monthly time frame on the DXY, for example, what we're going to notice is we are coming back off of this low channel here. So we were rejecting at that level right there, for 96.7 to 96.2. Alhamdulillah wa anta. So we're seeing that rejection there. We are coming off this monthly trend line, which I think is relatively interesting. If you go on the weekly time frame, is that what we're seeing? Wick rejection to the upside, and then we've seen it on the downside, but that was because of FOMC. But at the same time, we swept the weekly low as well, which was the previous low back in 30th of June. So we've had sellers kind of showing that buyers are not in control. Then we had this news event and stuff which gave support to the DXY. And how did it give support? It gave it from the sense of the Fed said that, you know, we are happy to cut rates, but we're not so keen to do it. So it's more of a neutral to hawkish cut. If anything, is definitely not dovish. So I think that's why obviously DXY kind of found support from the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday level. Thursday we did reject at this key area once again. Friday did the same thing again, rejecting at that key level. Now if you go to the weekly time frame, what are we seeing? We're seeing on the weekly time frame we struggled to break above this kind of level from here to about here. So 97.6 to 97.69. We've seen that price struggle to break that. So for me, 97.64, and then obviously started rejecting from there again on the daily time frame, didn't we? Right there you can see that rejection. So I'm still bearish on the DXY, but I'm more neutral to bearish than what I was before, because before I was very bearish on the DXY. After the data coming out from the FOMC press conference and what Jerome Powell was saying about having a more of a risk management based cut, not a cut concerned around fear of unemployment, that kind of gave support to DXY. Now we've also seen that Jerome Powell said something along the lines of let me find the statement that he said. One second, I do remember having the statement. I'll find that really quickly. And this statement is also what kind of led to the DXY finding more support. Let me just find that. Just give me a quick second. So it was on the Fed speech on Wednesday. Wednesday was what? It was Wednesday the 18th? Thursday 17th it was. I'm just looking for the information here. Just give me 1 second. Risk to inflations are tilted to the upside, and risk to employment are tilted to the downside. A challenging situation. And then where was the... Okay, here it goes. Yeah, so Nasdaq extended losses to over -1% on the day, as Fed Chair Powell says the Fed was right to wait and don't need to move quickly to cut rates. So when he said that statement, that's kind of what's giving this support to the DXY right here, and also why you've seen the stocks kind of have a negative reaction to that, because the stocks are hoping for more of an intense or more of a stronger viewpoint on cutting rates quickly and stuff. So that's what gave short-term support to DXY. I would like to see Monday, Tuesday reject from this level here, whether if it's Monday kind of consolidating next to Friday, Tuesday coming down, Wednesday coming up, retesting that level, Thursday testing that level, then Friday coming back down again is what I would like to see. I'm still bearish on the DXY, but I'm more neutral to bearish, whereas before I was pure 100% bearish on the DXY. So I'd like to see what price does around this level here, 97.9 to 97.6, see what happens there for the rest of the week. I'd like to see it consolidate and drop from here. If it breaks above Then the next area I'm looking for price to reject from is going to be 98.5 to 98.8. So if we get price action doing something like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then we could reject and come back down into this level again, then come back down into the deeper levels again. So that's what I'm expecting from the DXY, or that's what I would like to see from the DXY. Now let's go to Euro USD and look at where we are. So this low to this high, we are obviously rejecting these highs. Is obviously the Euro USD is kind of the inverse of the DXY. So obviously if we've had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday a bullish on DXY, naturally we're going to get it bearish on the Euro USD. So I think price is definitely coming into better levels to potentially get back into long positions if you're a swing trader. If you're looking at the fib, obviously you got the low to the high here. We've got 50% round day, which is kind of there's a lot of consolidation happening in this area. Now for me on the 4-hour time frame, if I was to get into a long position, I would like to potentially get into a long from probably this supply zone, this demand zone right here. Looks like a nice zone for me. Obviously you've got the daily thingy right there as well, haven't we? So that's fine. We get rid of this. So around here, the 4-hour supply zone as well, I'd like to potentially get in longs. Obviously the usual score is what I'd like to see. Price come into this level, get a confirmation of buys coming in, and then target back up into the highs again. Same old. My entry model always stays the same, looking for confirmation for longs. So that's never really going to change. That's what I'd like to see. If you see failure of this level, then the only other level we could potentially really look at is going to be this demand zone right here. We just drag this zone right here. But what I can see here is that has price kind of already come to this level? No, it hasn't. So you got this level here, you got this level here. There's zones I'd like to take entries from for longs again. You can obviously short into these levels, no problem at all. That's fine also. Once again, looking for confirmation based entries. Very simple on Euro USD, to be honest. Whatever the DXY does, Euro is the inverse of that. Now going to the pound USD, swing low to the swing high. We are coming back into 50% level, and we might hopefully reject from there. We are seeing the pound show a lot of weakness. There is a lot of concern around the pound, so we need to be very mindful of what's going to happen with the pound, because things are looking quite sticky for them in terms of inflation and stagflation. So that's how I'm seeing the pound being a bit more concerning, that's for sure. Now going to the 4-hour time frame, so this low to that previous high over there, I think this demand zone right here looks like a very lovely level, but obviously it's a intraday. No, how can I put on intraday? It's kind of an internal price action swing low. From this low to this high is the internal higher low. So price could either reject from this level, making the new higher low on the daily time frame. So price might come down, reject at that level there. The 618 to 786 is a nice level for it to make a new higher low to then go and make a higher high. So looking at that 4-hour level sits, that 4-hour demand zone sits perfectly within that level. So I'd like to potentially get into longs from here. Once again, same confirmation as I always say. Price comes into that level, look for a confirmation, boom, straight back up into the highs again. I'm not so keen on longing GBP just because the pound's looking a bit, it's not looking as strong as what it is, purely from the sense of the inflation's quite high, the unemployment's not looking so good, the growth is okay fundamentally. So it's kind of, if I'm going to long one, I want to long the euro. I think the euro looks a bit more stable. Pound is still valid. If price action, the technicals give you the entry, take it, why not? So that's what I'm looking for on there as well, if you're a 4-hour time frame trader. You've also got this demand zone here, which is kind of an interesting one because it took out this high and it took out this high. This demand zone did. Actually, no, it's this demand zone right here, but price come and slammed all the way through that level, so that's interesting at the same time. So once again, you can short to this level, long from this level again. If this zone fails, we do have this extreme zone right at the bottom over here. So you've got this extreme zone. What I mean by extreme is just the absolute swing low on the daily time frame. This is another place you can take a stab for longs. Once again, if you're having shorts into this level and you're not getting confirmation of longs, hold the shorts, swing it all the way down to this level. It might be a week's worth of a trade potentially, but as I said, it just depends on how the DXY performs. Normally EURUSD and GBPUSD tend to move in synchronization. Obviously the pit volume tends to be a bit different though. So you've got a couple opportunities there to short, and then you've got a couple opportunities there to get into longs at the same time. Now let's go to GBPCHF. Okay, so on this bad boy, it's very difficult, very chopped, very consolidated. I don't really want to look into getting anything on this currency at the moment until we get a bit more direction. If you go on the 4-hour time frames from the swing low to the swing high, there we go, just lock that down there. We are below the 50%, so if you want to get into longs, that looks good. You could take a long up to this supply zone here, up to this supply zone over here, and up to this supply zone over here. So you got a few zones to long up to. And if you want to get into shorts, you can short from this level there, short from that level there, short from that level also, because those zones, supply and demand zones, are zones you could trade to and trade from. That's how I view them. Whether if we're going to break this low or not, I'm not so sure, because the Swiss franc is kind of the safest safe haven currency at the moment, with the Bank of Japan talking about rate hikes and stuff like that. We had the recent rate decision. They did not do a rate hike. They kept it the same. They're holding rates. They're not cutting rates, which is interesting. Now, this week in terms of news, what do we see is that we do have the press conference and the rate decision for the CHF on Thursday the 25th. So if they stay at 0%, that's perfect for them as a neutral currency, safe haven currency. But then all it's showing is that the yen is way more, it's not as looked at as a safe haven currency if the interest rates are naturally higher to lend. So I think that GBPCHF is going to be a bit of a hard one to trade from a swing perspective, definitely from an intraday perspective on the M15 time frame, 1 hour time frame. I even see it difficult on there also in terms of where to kind of find direction on price. If we're looking at this low to this high, this leg here or this leg here to here, I still wouldn't really want to trade this. I'm kind of not looking at CHF on the 4 hour or 1 hour. As you guys know, I trade M1, so I'd need to see how the intraday price action looks in London Open to see if Asia is going to give direction, because I tend to view Asia and study Asia just to find out what London's going to do, so I'll have to kind of stick to that. So for me, GBPCHF is a no. Not looking at that kind of a hard market to trade. GBPJPY, now I've been loving the yen as of recent. Really nice price action. Now what did we see on this level of this swing low to this swing high on the daily time frame? We did break above that 200 level. We were so close to holding above it, but price just fell all the way down. As soon as we've seen the rate cut happen and stuff like that, the cuts are still coming for the USD, which means the yen is going to strengthen off of the back of that, just not as fast as the CHF, because the CHF is better to look at as a safe haven currency out of the yen and the CHF. Now going on the 4 hour time frame, so even this is a bit of a sticky one. So this low to this high, we are on the 50% level. I think with the yen, I would need to look at the lower time frame, 1 hour, 15 minutes, just to see if I can find more direction. Ultimately, we are bullish. If you look at the 1 hour, the 4 hour, we are bullish on GBPJPY. So you can look for longs being pro trend. It's just right now we're in that level of breaking that 200 level and having a huge reaction to the downside. Sellers stepped hard into this market and pushed it back down through that 200 level. So we just have to see how Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday looks to then find out what Thursday, Friday could do. If we get Monday, Tuesday coming back to these lower levels, 198.5, that sort of level, we might be able to get longs back up to that 200 level again, and then see if we can have another attempt at trying to break that level. Because all the way over here on GBPJPY, we have a lot of imbalances, a lot of price that needs to be filled. You had a huge reaction there, price sold off really hard, so it'd be nice to see price come back up and fill that level again. but obviously we have had a few attempts here. We didn't manage to break it this time. It's okay, no problem. We keep waiting for the opportunity of a break, test, and a continuation to the upside on the 4-hour and daily time frame. But going to the 1 hour, I'm still a bit hesitant on where to view this market. Very similar to CHF, GBPCHF. I would need to look at what Asia does, what London does to trade it on the day, and then just kind of move forward from there. We do have a demand zone right here, but we do at the same time have an ascending channel, which is kind of interesting because price could come down in this channel, then give a bullish reaction, come back into these highs again from how I view the market. So yeah, price is a bit difficult at the moment. There's a lot of consolidations in a lot of different currencies, but that's because everything's reliant on the USD. The USD affects a lot of different economies and different markets. What else is there we could have a look at? USDJPY, I'm thinking that's going to be a very similar story. On the daily time frame, yep, same as last week. This low to this high, come into this level, rejected off of it again. Very similar story as to what that was last week. I think this market is going to be a hard one to trade because until we start getting serious direction on the DXY, then the yen's going to kind of break free from that level. But we are rejecting on the daily time frame, which is a good sign. So let's go to the 4-hour. I did say something about these supply zone here as being the zones to potentially short from. I think it was this zone over here, or was it this zone over here? I can't exactly remember now because it was last week. But story is kind of similar. We did come down on Wednesday, wick through all this level here. So it did take out a few lows and stuff. And then we had a huge move to the upside, but once again retesting this key area again, and hopefully look for some bearish momentum. If you do get Monday, Tuesday showing bullishness, it depends if you break this level or not. And if you do break this level, then we look for break and retest and then get back into longs again, which is very similar to the DXY. If we get price coming up and coming back into those upper bands, doing a break and retest back into the upper bands of 98, I think it was, I said on the USD DXY. So I think USDJPY is obviously going to follow that. Let's look at gold really quick. As you can tell, I'm really banging these currencies out because I want to get to my food. Okay, gold. So I would say from this low to this high, or this low to this high, we are still very, very bullish. There is no sellers in this market. There hasn't been sellers in this market for years. Ali, I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm clear. I hope you guys can hear me properly because I'm trying to talk clearly, but a bit quick, but not too quick. Anyway, so this low to this high, let me pull the fib out so you can see it just a little bit better. Right here, so I do like this level over here, the 0.5 to 0.382 level. Obviously it's a nice pullback level. You got a lot of support resistance there that turned potentially into support if you come back down and retest that level. Love the look of that. We could obviously look for confirmations on the lower time frame to get into longs. Obviously price comes down, comes into this level. Once again, look for confirmation on the lower time frame, pop back into longs again to target back up into these levels. Now gold is very psychological. See how we started to come up here, reject at 90, 60, 700 pretty much straight away, coming back off of there. Where is the next level if you keep going bullish? I've got a feeling the next level is going to be where's J? There's J. I'm expecting to be around 3800 as I'm expecting the next level. So let me just see if I can bring that all the way over to around there. So that's kind of the next level I'm looking at on the gold to kind of see. I think that's kind of where we're going to go next. I think that's the next level on gold we're going to go. Can I put any notes on this? No, it doesn't let me, does it? Text. Okay, 3800 for gold. So I'm writing it on there. So I'm expecting that to be our next level, and then 3850, 39, 3950, just because people, when you're making all-time highs, they're going to start taking money out of the market at psychological levels, because there is going to be no algorithm or anything when you're making all-time highs. I was saying to a friend of mine, if you're in a long trade, look at start taking portions of money out of the market at around 36.95, 36.97, because price might reject just before 3700, because everyone's going to start taking money out of that market, which kind of what happened here. We come straight up to 3705 and then we started to reject. By how many pips? 700 and 70. That's 80, 78. That's 780 pips, I think, isn't it, on gold? I forget. Because that's, yeah, 780 pips on gold. You had a rejection at that level there, which is really interesting. 705, 707. So I think price might come up to that 3800 level. I think that's going to be very, very interesting level indeed. Guys, do you have any requests on pairs you want me to go over really quick so I can get it knocked out and get back to my food? Because I've ordered a pizza, it's piping hot. Now it might not be so hot. I'm trying to get through this ASAP. You're good, Goey, haha. Let me just show you what I'm looking at. So I've obviously got these intraday levels on EURUSD on the 30-minute time frame. You see where we react from. I've marked high, Asian high, Asia low, London high, London low, New York high, New York low, etc. And then structural highs and structural lows. So whichever price reacts from within my time window of the usual 7 to 11:30 a.m. London time, and whichever gives me confirmation entry meeting my criteria, I'm going to hop into a long or a short as per those pairs. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. If you don't have any questions, ما فيش مشكلة ليست مشكلة أنا جيان صح. Yeah, so I'm a hungry boy. If you don't have any questions, no problem, guys. Watch the stream back. It was a 28-minute stream, really short, really quick. So we went over DXY, we went over gold, we went over EURUSD, GBPUSD, GBPCHF, GBPJPY, USDJPY, and that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, drop it in the chat. When the stream finishes, I'll try and read all the comments and stuff. If there's any pairs you want me to go over next week, let me know. I'll do a longer stream, 1-2 hours and stuff. We'll have a Q&A session and stuff like that. But today, I didn't time the food and stuff at a good time. So yeah, my bad. Thanks for coming, guys. Do me a favor, hit like, share, subscribe. Jazakallah khair, akhi. I've got the links for my social media, X, Instagram. You got the discount code there, Bashy, for 10% off of Heron copy, which is a copy I use. If you have any questions, ask me about it. I'm happy to show you or advise you on how to use the trade copier. I'll show you everything because I use it all the time. And obviously, I've just made a free Discord, so you're more than welcome to click that link, hop in the Discord. Everything's in there in terms of my trades I've taken and stuff like that. And its own tab is more for people who want to learn trading and stuff like that. And I don't necessarily mean learn trading in the sense that I will teach you any like technicals, but if you want to see what I'm doing, learn what I'm doing, see why I'm doing what I'm doing, you can see it in the Discord. I'm completely free. No money is going to be taken from you guys or anything like that. I'm a trader. I'll make money from the markets. I'm never going to ask you guys for money or anything like that. If anything, I'll encourage you to donate to charities. That's all, but charities of your choice. So yeah, that's pretty much me done, guys. And also, yes, I will have a TikTok account coming soon. I do have a friend who's got a TikTok account that I might start using for live streaming and stuff, so you can follow on TikTok and stuff, which might help grow the channel at a faster pace. But that's pretty much everything done. Guys, thanks for coming. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, do all that cool jazz. I will see you tomorrow at London Open or at Frankfurt Open, 7:20 AM BST. Take it easy, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Take it easy. Bye.